Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Andrew and welcome back to another clipstudiopaint tutorial video. So for this tutorial video, I wanted to show you guys the line tool. The line tool can be found here. If you look at your left hand side, your little icons of tools, it's probably the fourth one from the bottom. It looks like a little line there. You select that, and then you come over here to wherever your subtools tab is, and you'll see some various subtools here. The first one is just direct. Then we have frames, we have rulers, and then stream, and then these speed lines kind of things. So we're gonna do just the direct line. I just want to talk over some of these tools and how to use them and how you can change them. So the first one is just a straight line. That's simple enough. By default, it should be set up like this. You can choose however thick you want to make the line, and basically if you have a stylus or a Wacom Cintiq or a tablet, you just hold the pen down and drag wherever you want the line, and then as soon as you let go of the stylus, you will have a perfectly straight line. Again, you can change the brush size with this slider here, or you can just choose one of the brush sizes up here on the top, the circles. You have anti-aliasing. For those that don't know what anti-aliasing is, I'll just draw two lines here. Actually, let me do the most anti-aliasing, and then I'll do no anti-aliasing, and I'll just put them next to each other so we'll zoom in and we can see what the difference is. So here you have my setting is up right now. It's set at 600 dpi, so I gotta zoom in pretty tight. But you see this grayish pixels here that goes from black to white, but in between there's some gray pixels. And then this was the most anti-aliasing. And then over here on the bottom where it's just straight black and white, there is no gray. That is no anti-aliasing. It's basically pure black and white, and then there's some with grays. The one with anti-aliasing, it gives it kind of a smoother look. It's not as pixelated. If my canvas was at a lower DPI, it would be a problem, but at 600 DPI, it doesn't seem to be a problem. But that's what anti-aliasing is. By default, it's always set on this third option. Now, another thing you can do with the line tool here is you have this option here down here. It says starting and ending. If you click that plus button, you'll have these two slide bars, that starting and ending, and what they do is they taper your lines. If you ever drew, so if you just have a regular pen, you see that tapering right there, where it goes from thick and then it slowly goes into thin. You can actually get that effect with the line tool, and you'll have a straight line, and you can even have the tapers on both ends. It's kind of difficult to do it on both ends because you kind of have to control the pressure of the pen. But with the line tool, if we go back to the line tool, remember if you click this little start plus sign next to the starting and ending, and then right here on this drop down, click the brush sizes. Now you will be you can see from the preview window how it looks, and so when you do a line, it kind of looks normal for now until I remove the pen, and then there you have your tapered lines. And of course you can adjust it. You get the whole maximum, and that gives you the most tapering, or you can do tapering on one end and a little bit on the other. So you have a variance there. So and again, if you want to go back to the default, to what the default setting is, you have this little circle here of little triangles. You touch that and it says, do you want to restore selected subtool to its default setting? Click OK, and everything goes back to the default settings. You'll notice that this little drop down goes back to none, and so everything's back to how it was. Now the curve tool, we can do the same thing. It has some of the same options. Your anti-aliasing. Oh, one thing I didn't talk about was the brush shapes. You can also have these different brush shapes. So this is kind of like a, let me go a little bit bigger. It's kind of a spray. Let me zoom in. A spray of dots. You can even have these little jagged lines already pre-made. These are all pre-made in clipstudiopaint or the Wavy Lines. So it's already set up for you. They even give you some hearts if you want hearts. So, and if you do the tapering, you'll see it goes from like little hearts and then big hearts, and the same with the wave. Once you let go, it goes from little waves to big waves in the center, and then little waves again. So it'll taper it for you, even with the different brush sizes. Again, to go back to the default, just hit that little circle with the triangles. And, oh yeah, there it goes. And then you're back to default. The curve has similar tools. You can do the tapering, you can do the anti-aliasing, the different shapes, brush shapes. You can do all that. But the way it works is like a line tool, except when you stretch the line out and you let go of the pin, you have this other option here where you select the curvature of the curve, how dramatic you want it, and then you click the screen again or click your tablet, and it gives you that curve. Again, you can do the tapering. Make sure you select the brush size, and then once you do that, then you can, after you do the curve, it'll taper it for you. I'm going to hit the default button, go back to default. We have a Polyline tool. The Polyline tool lets you pick different spots on the screen, and you can create your line that way. So I can pick here, 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 and then if you get close to where you started, you'll see a little circle next to your cursor, and that will complete your poly line. This first options here, these three options here, you can create the fill, or you can create the line, which is what I did here, or you can create the line and the fill at the same time. So the first one, like it says, it's just a fill. So you'll choose the shape you want, and then it'll just fill the area. It won't create a line. And again, it's a poly, so you can choose as many, and then at the very end, get close to where you started, and it'll close it off for you. This other option here, you can select two different colors, currently black and white, or you can choose a green or red. And now you have your black line and a red. It'll fill it with red. So again, back to where I started, and it fills it in for you. Now you can't do anything. You can do anti-aliasing, and you can do different brush shapes, but you cannot do any tapering. So there's wavy lines there. And again, you can pick different colors. You could even pick a different outline color. And let's go with something like hearts or something again. So, and that's the polyline. The next one is the continuous curve. The continuous curve is very useful, especially if you want to draw something very smoothly. It takes a lot of time, but in my opinion, it's worth it if you want something really smooth. And you're not working in vectors or anything. So, I don't know, I'm just trying something, right? And I just turn it into blue line. Say I wanted to draw the outline of this, my sketch. I just go to the continuous curve and I pick a certain thickness, and then I can pick multiple spots in my drawing here. Hold on, let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this. So I'm gonna start just going around his head, and I'm just clicking different spots on the line here, and it automatically makes it into a curve. Now when you want to do a sharp turn like here, what you do is you click the spot, and you see if I turn, it'll make that curve, right? If you want it to be like a sharp turn, just click the same spot one time, and now it becomes a sharp turn. Same thing with this. I want it to be a sharp turn, click the same spot once, and now I can just continue on. And oh, and so when I ended there, the way you end it is you make your line, and then once you come to the spot you want to end, you double tap the same spot quickly. So 1, 2 real quick. And so now you can see, you can have a smooth continuous line, same thickness all the way around. Again, you can mess with the anti-aliasing, the anti-aliasing, the brush type. There's these curve options here where you can do straight lines, the spline, and this quadratic bezier. Oh, I'm in the wrong layer. Here we go. There you go. If you go back to the same spot you started, it'll finish it off for you. And again, you can hit the default, go back to the way it was set up. Then we have, I don't know why this tool is here. It's not really a line tool. It's called the Lasso Fill. It just basically fills whatever area you select with the color you want. I would have put that in the up here in the what Clip Studio calls the marquee tool. I would have put it here because it's a lot like the lasso tool. In fact, if you use the lasso tool, there's this little paint bucket here, and it pretty much does the same thing, except that over here this Lasso Fill does it in one step. Yeah, it's kind of weird that it's in there. The next one is the rectangle. The rectangle has kind of the same options where you can do a create a fill, or just the line, or both the line and the fill by choosing the two different colors. You can also do the roundness of the corners. So So without it, it looks like this, right? You pretty much just start from one corner and you drag it to however you want your square or your rectangle, or you can click the roundness. So you can get those rounded corners, and of course this slider, you can make it as rounded the corners as you want. So I guess it's a pretty good tool for making word balloons if you want to make custom word balloons. And just uncheck it to take that off. Now the aspect ratio, there's this aspect ratio. So this first option here, the specific ratio, this pretty much makes your square a perfect square. All four sides are equal length, and you just click the first spot and you drag it however big you want it, and then it will create a perfect square for you. Or you can do it this way, where you enter the width and the height. I believe these are pixels, and all you have to do is click this, just tap the screen, and it'll make the square or rectangle for you, depending on the specific width and height that you give it. Adjust the angle after you fixed. If you click that, what that allows you to do is it lets you now spin the square. Say if you wanted a diamond or something. So, and again, that was by clicking the adjust angle. And you can also do anti-aliasing, and you can pick different brush shapes if you want. You can do stars or whatever you want. The next one is the ellipse. The ellipse is also where you make circles. Currently right now, the aspect type is not selected. If you select that, now you have a perfect circle. It's kind of like the square or the rectangle in the sense that if you want a perfect square, you click that aspect ratio type checkbox and you can have a perfect square. Or on the ellipse, you click it and now you can have a perfect circle. Same thing, you just click the screen and then or the tablet and you drag it however big you want it, and there is a circle. It's actually not complete, because if I move my mouse up, if you see the cursor, if I go up, you'll see the whole screen starts to move. That's because the action is actually not complete yet. You have to tap the screen again, and now you can see I move my mouse or my Wacom pin up, and it's not moving the screen. That's because I have this adjust angle after fix. When this is an ellipse, you just drag it out to however big you want it and however elliptical you want it, and then you can see you can spin it around. So you touch the tablet or the screen again, and then now that's the final position. Again, you can remove that, and then but what that'll do is once you take the pin away from your tablet or your screen, that's the final angle. So, and you can do it as a fill, or you can do it as a line and fill. So you can do it like that. Again, you can mess with the anti-aliasing and the brush shapes. It's actually a good tool if you want to do some custom word balloons. Maybe a little bigger. I don't know. I don't know why you would want that as a word balloon, but you can do something like this, right? You do the hearts and then write your text. You know, something like that. And then the next line tool is, oh, let me go back to the default. The next one is the Polygon. Now the Polygon, you can actually, if you want, you can make squares. I don't know why they included that. You can make a rectangle or an ellipse, but we already have those two up here. So the best one is this Polygon, what it's actually made for. And right now, this is by default, this is the shape it makes, 6 sides. But if you hit this little plus sign, you can actually increase the number of sides. You can now have an octagon. Oh, and again, it's the final action. If this ever happens to you where it just goes off the canvas, it's because it's waiting on that next action. And so you just tap the screen, and because I have this adjust angle after fix, you uncheck that, and you should be able to just drag it out, and then as big as you want, and then it'll make the shape. Again, you can do it as a fill or a line and fill. You can do it as a perfect ratio, so it's all the sides are equal, or you can manually type in the width and the height. And anti-aliasing, and that's it. And so those are all and again, you can hit that circle with the little triangles to go back to the default, and everything goes back to how it was. Again, those are all the line tools that Clip Studio Paint has. You can do a lot of uses with them. You can make border frames for your comic book. If you're working on a comic book and you want to do some frames for your border or for the panels in your book, you can do these panels like this. You can use any of these tools to create your panels for your book. But Clip Studio Paint actually has a tool for that already makes panels. It's actually right next to the line tool. It's called frames. I have another video that talks about this. I'll leave a link in the description where you can see that video. And like I said, there's rulers, there's these streamlines, and then there's these like speed lines. But again, I think I've dragged this video on as long as I want to, really. So I hope you guys learned something. I hope you found it educational, and if you got any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments down below. If I can't answer it in the comment section, I'll make a video to explain it. And yeah, so if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I make Clip Studio Paint tutorial videos like that, so please consider subscribing if you're into this. And also, if you wouldn't mind giving this video a thumbs up, it really helps with the algorithm and the recommendations. My channel just recently crossed over to the 1,000 subscribers, and thank you very much to all the subscribers. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. And yeah, as long as you guys have questions and want to know stuff about Clip Studio Paint, I will make these videos, and if I don't know, I'll figure it out, or I'll find somebody that does. And yeah, and I'll make a video about it. So again, thanks a lot, and see you guys in the next one.